Yeah, holiday special. Let's go. We will digitally paint in Ken's hat.
No, it's the hair. I don't do that. I don't do hats.
You're listening to the Ground Transportation Podcast with Ken Lucci of Driving Transactions and James Blain of PAX Training. Learn how you can build a thriving transportation business with real profits, repeat clients, and enterprise value. And now for your hosts, Ken and James.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Ground Transportation Podcast. My name is Ken Lucci, and I am from Driving Transactions. We are a financial analysis and business valuation and M&A advisory firm specializing in passenger transportation. I am so pleased to be joined by my able co-host, James Blain from PAX Training, who is a trainer extraordinaire of chauffeurs and motorcoach pilots in the industry. We're also blessed to have our producer, John Tyerman, who is going to actively participate in this. He's behind the scenes on every one of these podcasts, keeping us honest and bleeping me out when I swear.
It's a full-time job, right?
He does a lot more than that. But he's going to participate because we're going to have our first look back show. We are going to look back at some of the highlights from the Ground Transportation Podcast. So, John, take it away.
Yeah, holiday special. Let's go.
It's the holiday special. This episode is coming out right on Christmas Eve, so we thought, hey, let's don the Santa hats and let's take a look back at some of the best moments of 2025. Maybe sip on some eggnog while we're at it.
We will digitally paint in Ken's hat.
No, it's the hair. I don't do that. I don't do hats.
First of all, before we dive into some of the clips, I just want to ask both of you, is there a particular moment that maybe stands out to you from the podcast over the course of the last year?
Oh, Ken, you go first. You take that one first.
I really enjoyed the episode we had with Daus and Tammy Rudder from Commonwealth, because he told his origin story, which I didn't know. I also enjoyed the conversations we had with Brett Barinholtz for the same reason. I mean, he told us his origin story and the fact that he was originally in finance, stocks and bonds. So I'd have to say those two, but there are so many. I mean, I enjoyed Matt Daus. I mean, talking to Matt was fantastic. I don't want to leave anybody out, but yeah, I think those were the ones that were most memorable to me.
Okay.
I think for me, I had an aha moment. So I recently was elected onto the board of Greater California Livery Association. And, we're sitting there, we're having a lunch before we go in. And, I was looking at the table and Tiffany Hinton was right across from me, right? Maurice Brewster was there.
Oh, God.
And
how could I miss those two?
Yeah. And there's so many great people, but it's kind of like I've said on the podcast before, you typically don't meet someone and go, yeah, hi, my name is James. I work with PAX. Here's the past 20 years of my life. Here's how I got into the industry. Here's my backstory. Here's what I do. Here's how I built my company. And so, I think for me, and I hope the audience feels the same way, we get to meet people on a personal level in a way that you don't typically do. And that was for me. And one of my big things when we start these interviews, I always want to start with the story. I always want to understand where they are, what they do, from where they came from. And I think for me, sitting in that room, seeing that was a huge deal. And I had this moment of, wow, because and Ken, you probably feel the same way. To me, it feels like we just started the podcast.
It does.
Me, it feels like this is super brand new.
Yep.
And when I was there, I had this moment. I was like, oh, wow, this new podcast. And then I realized we missed our 1-year anniversary. We didn't even realize we'd been doing this for a whole year. We didn't have a 1-year anniversary because for us, we were still felt like we were getting to do it.
My, has time flown?
My God. I mean, it just goes, right? So, and I think
every minute with you goes by like seconds, James.
Seconds. So just so everyone's aware, Ken feels like we've been doing this 20, 30 years because I torture him. Just every episode, Ken is just tortured by me, right?
And to think that this is the highlight of my week. I mean, that. It's the highlight of my
sucker. Week. You have no idea. If we would have been recording Ken's face when I jumped on with this hat on, right? You would have thought, I mean, it was the look of this damn kid, right? This child. What am I going to? But all joking aside, I think for us, one, I want to thank everybody. Like we missed that 1 year anniversary. I want to thank everybody that listens, because I get people that come up to me
All
and
the
they
time.
tell me how much they love the podcast. They tell
All
me
the
how much they
time.
love the interviews. They tell me how much it means to them. And so for me, I think probably if I had to pick a favorite moment, my favorite moment is every time someone comes up and talks to me about the podcast, because I have days where I'm like, man, who would want to listen to me? I can't believe people enjoy this, but it really means a lot to know that people are getting value, and that all the work, all the time, all the effort that John, that Ken, that myself, all of us kind of putting our heart and soul into this, that you guys really appreciate it. So that to me is probably my favorite.
I don't even think I could count the number of people who've said that to me. I mean, I think it's in the hundreds that, and it certainly has helped us connect with new people who are interested in our service, but that's to me secondary.
Yeah.
What's primary to me is when somebody walks up to us at a conference that says, I implemented what you talked about on the podcast, or, the guest that you had on so-and-so, I really learned a lot from them and I've connected with them. So I do think we're making a difference. I really think we're making a difference in the industry. The fact that we are partnering with chauffeur-driven more on the surveys, on the data, I think we're doing a great service for the industry. We could not be more pleased with John. Is this going to be his review, by the way?
Yeah.
Is he getting a review? Is this a review?
Surprise. All right. So let's talk about your performance.
All right, let's
because
do it.
he's really the one that comes up with a lot of the ideas, the whole video clips, episodes.
He is our unsung hero, 100%.
And he's a professional producer. And so it's gone a lot easier. And let's just point out, this soiree was James' idea originally.
Oh God, I get blamed for everything.
Right, but then it really having John involved, it's certainly taken it to a next level that I didn't anticipate we were going to.
We couldn't have done it without John. And I think one of the things that people don't realize is, people think, oh yeah, you record this podcast, it's great, and I had a conversation with someone like, oh, it must be so easy. You go in, you record. What they don't see, all the work that goes behind, the social media, doing, the editing and all of the bleeping of Ken, and
that's a full-time job.
Well, not only that, but the prep work on your end and knowing how to navigate the conversation and then
and the
showing
questions
up.
and getting the people to agree to come on. We've had a couple of scheduling glitches, not many, but people have really wanted to be on the podcast, which says a lot. So let's get to the highlight reel.
Yeah,
let's get to the highlight reel.
I love that you guys, many of the things that you brought up were moments that I planned to share with you. So I'm glad that you brought some of those things up.
Still on the same frequency, that same holiday frequency.
That's right. That's exactly right. So we're going to do another screen share for us, and then for our audience, we'll bring in these clips. But this first clip that I wanted to share was from Ken's conversation with Matt Daus,
the legendary Matt Daus.
This was episode 15.
Look at that, in the sound studio, no less. What a boss.
So this was Matt talking about the 3 business models of autonomous vehicles.
And these are sophisticated cars. When I got in them, I mean, they were going around in opposing traffic when someone was beeping and backing up into us. Like, they are sophisticated. They have eyes behind their head and at every level, like Octopi. I mean, basically, you could see things that a driver can't see. They could see things in the blind spots. So,
and that'll be the argument.
Safety question has been answered. It is safer than a human driver. There's no question about it. But some vehicle technology is different and better than others. And we won't, call names here, but, the business model is also different. There are basically 3 business models. There's the robo-taxi model, the Uberization, which is the Waymo Cruise way. Now Cruise is out in the picture. Uber was smart to get out of doing it themselves and now being more like a platform. So their partnership with Waymo is where I think the future is going to be in the next 5 years, is where they start cropping up in more and more cities as using their own app, Waymo, but also as one of many ways to get around on the Uber app. And I think it's going to remain that way for a long time. But it is scaling, and you will see it in New York. You will see it elsewhere. The mayor of New York wants this. I mean, he said that on the night he was elected. There's more legislation and local rules that are very strict in New York City. So it's a lot of hurdles, but Waymo has the Uber type, on-demand model. Zoox and Beat and, May Mobility, which has an accessible vehicle.
Yeah, May Mobility's up in Michigan, privately held at this point.
It's a very different business model. It's more shared mobility, multiple passengers. You're going to see those at airports, retirement communities, college campuses, and it's going to be integrated into transit. Waymo is really the only company left standing. With Tesla has a different business model. That's the third business model. And I think there's a lot of confusion about where Elon is going to go with this. And I think, to your point, we could talk about Elon for like an entire podcast.
We're going to try to get him on, by the way, Matt. You're going to be on that episode when we get him.
We'll just have to go down and hang outside the gate at Mar-a-Lago.
Didn't that get, we got to be careful about that.
Has there been an episode that we didn't mention Elon? Like, I think Elon's brought up on every episode that we've.
No, we have Elon envy. There's no question about that. But let me tell you something. Getting Matt Daus on the podcast to me was a milestone that we were on to something.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
we're going to talk to him next week.
We're going to talk to him again next week. And he and I are doing a few more things together. But this guy is literally the transportation regulatory expert and without question, the best transportation attorney in the country. So that was an incredible episode. James, I noticed that you missed that episode.
It's all right. That's why we're bringing him back. I will be there for that episode.
Okay. All right.
And we'll have to ask if his opinion on Elon Musk has changed.
Agreed. Because there's a lot of things have gone on. But
I don't know that we're going to find Elon at Mar-a-Lago. We're going to have to go hang out outside a different gate because
this was recorded back when Doge was big.
Yeah. How quickly they forget.
The tables have turned.
All right. So this next clip that I have is from after the CDNLA show in Vegas earlier this year.
Do we look tired or what?
You can feel the lack of energy through the screen, like just drained.
I think for me and from my perspective, it was after that show and it was this moment that I knew that we were onto something. Was because James, if you recall, before the Vegas show, you had recorded like a 3-minute bumper of like, hey, if we see you at the show,
our
take
selfie
a selfie
challenge
with us.
Our selfie challenge.
The selfie challenge.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
So let's see how what I'd love to do is show what your instant reaction to that was, and then let's relive that a little bit. The
people that you met on the floor, how was their attitude?
I think the attitude was great. I can tell you, big shout out to everyone that came to see us. I don't know that I've ever had that many people coming to see us. I think part of that is the podcast. I'm glad to say it sounds like everybody's enjoying it. I think the other side of that, though, is I think the show floor continues to grow year after year. I think this show continues to grow year after year.
Yep. I agree.
I think the other thing, and I'm going to, again, we're going to take a little tangent. I had tons of people that actually took me up on my selfie challenge.
So did I.
But I will say, guys, you got to tag us. You got the selfie. You've got it in your phone. You got to tag us. I would love to announce the winner today that we had, right? We were hoping to do that jointly. But we've got all these selfies out in the wild that I don't know where they've ended up. So post those, please.
What is tagging the selfie? What is the process of tagging the selfie?
So there's a couple different ways that you can do it.
Tell us, technology
easiest,
genius.
Yes.
Tell us, Mr. Wizard.
The easiest way to do it is to make a post on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, now X, whatever your favorite social media is, and then just put the @ symbol and put ground transportation.
That's it?
That's it. And then you just post it.
Whoa. You're telling me this whole thing about tagging. This is a revelation to me because it's not on a P&L or a balance sheet. You're telling me that I can post a picture and then I can say the @ symbol ground transportation podcast.
Yep.
Okay. We learned something new today.
You can tag individuals that way. So the @ symbol, you can put James, you can put Ken, you can put whoever you want and tag it that simple.
Yeah.
And then from that point, it's really easy. You've done it. You've tagged it. Then you can even go into the individual photo And you can actually tag people within the photo. So if you click on the photo, there's a little, it looks like a price tag up in the corner, right? You click that tag and then you can click on the photo and tag people within the photo. Almost every platform's about the same. They all support kind of the @ symbol. We are really, really easy because we have @Ground Transportation Podcast on basically every platform. So
Good.
So I think that perfectly illustrates why we have to cover AI and technology so much on this podcast. Because I remember there were so many people that were like, "Hey, can I take a selfie?" And it was almost humbling to me because I didn't think we'd have lots and lots of people take us up on it. More people took us up on it than I expected, and all of these selfies still exist out there, and I don't know where they've gone.
Well, here's a reminder. Yeah, go
the
back
whole
into your
thing,
phone.
Yeah, the
Post
whole
and tag
thing.
us.
The whole thing was to tag, right, so that we'd know and we'd see the selfie. But I took so many selfies with people, and then I'm like, where did they go?
Shout out to Paul Pasternak because
He
I think
did.
he's the one who came the closest.
He did, yeah.
So I think now people are starting to tag us. I see some mentions of Ground Transportation Podcast on social media channels. And I see lots of comments from people, especially on LinkedIn. That seems to be the channel that most people are engaging with us on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Ken, James, ahead of the CDNLA show in Vegas in 26, should we try the selfie challenge again?
I think so. I do. I think so. I think we should, and I think we better maybe give some instructions on properly tagging. There's no question, based on the people that have talked to us and the people that mentioned the podcast, it came up on 2 out of my 4 calls this morning. People that I wouldn't think listen to the show.
Oh, all the time.
All the time. So yeah, I think we ought to try that one more time. But I am kind of shocked at how tired I look on that.
We both look exhausted.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. But nobody told me that it looks like I'm in a hospital bed with that big white chair. Anyway,
my God.
We don't have that chair anymore, so that's good.
So
good.
I will tell you one thing, and I'm going to put this out in the ether because I find if I put things out there, they sometimes come to fruition. I think one thing that I would love to do, and I don't know which show is right for it or which show to do it at, but I think that it would be really great if we were able to do a live audience type episode, to be able to say, hey, we're going to do like a fireside type chat. So you've got Ken and I up there, you've got a guest up there, and I think that'd be great if we could pull someone from outside the industry, and we could say, hey, and maybe one of the shows has a keynote speaker, and after the keynote, we can kind of pull them over. I think that for me would be I say it not because there's value in my world, but because I really feel like one of the hardest parts for me is when I go to these shows and I'm talking to these people, like I mentioned earlier, we're looking into a camera right now. So to have the audience there, to have our listeners there, to be able to connect with everyone, to be able to make them kind of a part of what we're doing.
Maybe we need to do a mixer. Maybe we need to look at it for 26.
Exactly.
Look, the way the industry is changing, I think this is the year to do it. Now, flat out,
100%.
I'm just gonna, John, record this. Flat out, I'm going to do a call out to Elon Musk. Okay. I will buy the most expensive Tesla that you make, and I will pay cash for it if you come on the Ground Transportation Podcast.
Ken, this guy builds rockets. You're going to end up with a $10 million rocket in your backyard.
Okay,
Let me builds rockets.
All right, fine. Well,
He's going to Mars. NASA's not even going to Mars except with like RC cars. He's taking people there.
I'll reissue the challenge.
He shot one into space.
Elon Musk, I will buy the most expensive Tesla sedan that you make,
there you go.
and I will pay cash for it if you come on this podcast and talk about your autonomous vehicles, because we believe that you're going to do fantastic things, but that are going to impact our industry in great ways. But you're a man of the people. Joe Rogan, what does he talk about? And we're not smoking pot together, don't get me wrong.
If that's what it takes.
James will smoke pot with you.
Whoa, I got the CDL. You don't have a CDL. I can't risk my CDL, man. That's not legal yet.
I feel like I've already volunteered to toke up with Elon if he comes on the show.
John will do it. He'll even supply the weed.
Our producer, by the way, he'll probably want to hire you away.
By the way, he is not in a safety sensitive function. So as long as it's legal in the state he records in, we should be fine.
So John will toke up with you, and I will buy the most expensive Tesla sedan. There'll be no moratorium on how long I keep it, and I will pay cash for it if you come on this podcast. There's the challenge.
Yeah. And my challenge to myself is to figure out what Ken is doing to have that much cash on hand and start doing that.
Got to get into financial services, James.
Apparently. Yeah. No, we're doing it all wrong over here. I don't have that kind of cash.
All right. So I want to share another clip from earlier this year. This one is from our conversation with Eric Coolbaugh.
And it starts with Ken Lucci doesn't wear shorts, so we know it's going to be good.
Eric Coolbaugh from Advantage Remarketing, one of my favorite people in this industry.
And what I love about this clip, Ken, is you came in with some piss and vinegar, and it was awesome. But then Eric claps back at you with the... And it was hilarious. This is probably my favorite moment from the show.
But before we get into talking about Advantage Remarketing, I just want to say flat out, this is the only place in the chauffeur transportation industry that you can go for continuous education every single week. If you listen to the podcast, you will pick up more tips in 1 hour on this podcast than you will for no money. You don't have to travel anywhere. You don't have to get a hotel room. You don't have to buy a conference ticket. So really, really happy to say we have had over 70,000 views of our shorts. Now I'm happy to introduce a very close friend of mine, Eric Coolbaugh from Advantage Remarketing.
So it's my pleasure, Ken. Thanks for having me. And I can't believe 70,000 what?
70,000 downloads or views of our shorts, of our Facebook short videos.
And there you go. Let's clarify that. We don't mean like our literal shorts, right? Like the ones we're wearing. We mean like shorts on YouTube and whatnot for the younger generation.
Correct.
If you know Ken Lucci, he doesn't wear shorts. No.
Had to go there.
Had to go there.
I rarely wear shorts.
And
when I do, it's something exotic.
Trust me. It's interesting.
By the way, wow. I don't know what the hell, who got it up? Who got what burr on my saddle?
What did they say about this podcast to make you go that hard in the paint? Like Ken is selling it like his life depends on it. Like if you are not listening to this podcast, you have no life. You don't live under a rock. You are a rock. You're just dead weight. Like, my God.
By the way, I just want to update the numbers. We've got over 170,000 views of our shorts. And that's
people like our shorts.
And over 17,000 plays on our podcast since we launched. So we've grown a bit since then.
170,000?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Across LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook.
Wow. They like us. They really like us.
Maybe I should rant more.
Step on a soapbox, Ken. Hey, is there anybody that's gotten under your skin recently? Here's your chance.
So before we do that, after that opening, did our views go up or down? We need to know. We need to be sure we're doing the right thing here. Did they go up or did they go down?
Well, we obviously have gotten some attention based on the partnerships that we've created and the fact that we've gotten some unbelievable guests. So maybe me tilting at the windmills really did work.
I think, Ken, you just hit on something. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say thank you to all the guests, because I think that has been one of the biggest things for us. And at least it's one of my favorite parts, is having these guests, having people from the industry on.
Absolutely.
Having, all of these people that are willing to share their knowledge. And, nobody ever abuses the platform either. It's not like they come out here and they give a sales pitch. I mean, it's genuinely solid, valuable, good information.
And I love the format because it's extremely conversational.
Yes.
And to me, it's almost like the only thing missing is we're not sitting on a bar stool having a beer, and they're sharing a lot of the guests have shared things that I never thought they would. And it's been extremely, extremely productive.
And that's like Mo, right? Mo shared all his big things, right? As soon as that next big one comes out, we got to have him back on. And to be that forthcoming and to share, a lot of these guys have shared their secret sauce. I mean, it's a big deal.
And because they're secure in their success. And they know that, and they know, like in Maurice's case, it can't be duplicated. Maurice is a huge part of the secret sauce. Tiffany Hinton is a huge part of that secret sauce. All right, what else we have, John? I hope it's no more rants.
I want to play a short clip from Charlie Horky, who teased his book on the podcast earlier this year, and then recently he came on with James and talked about the book release.
Living legend. Talk about a guy that you can learn a lot from.
Well, and you talked about being secure in your success. One of the things, in my opinion, that makes Charlie Horky extraordinarily special is he's secure in his success and he learned from his failures, right?
Oh, Phoenix from the ashes.
Absolutely.
Complete Phoenix from the ashes.
I went to dinner with him the last time I was in Vegas and we had a blast. And Charlie's one of those guys. He'll share what he got right. He'll share what he got wrong. He'll share how he learned. He'll share where he's going. But he's one of those people that doesn't try. There's a lot of people that try to pretend that the failures or the issues or, the problems never happen. Charlie owns them. Charlie laughs at them in some cases.
He's lived through them. He's a stronger man because of them.
100%.
Play that clip.
And,
how big were you when the year that you ended up selling? How big was the business from a revenue perspective? Do you remember?
Yeah, 65, 70 million.
Wow.
Phenomenal. Yeah. So what was the secret to go from freaking one car, which would be maybe back in the day would be $100,000 a year in revenue. How do you go from 100,000 a year in revenue to 65 million?
You're going to have to read the book.
Guys, if you're on YouTube, we'll pop it up on the screen or we'll drop it in the show notes.
Okay, so you got to look at this. Unbreakable Path, Charlie Horky.
Love it.
A story of loss, resilience, and the pursuit of greatness.
So give us the teaser for it, Charlie, right? Because now that Ken has done that, I know I'm hanging on the edge of my seat.
I thought I had a story to tell, and so I wrote it when I was away. And in the last 7 years since I've been out, I've learned that good stories are a dime a dozen, and that it's a 1 in a million shot to make a movie. And and the thing that was horrifying to me was that it's somebody else's version of your life. Like, a screenwriter, and we did pay for a screenwriter to write this, and he did. And it was spooky. It was scary. I just, and a really important client of mine said to me, Charlie, these things last forever. Like, is this really how you want to be represented?
Legacy.
Yeah.
So
whatever.
You've got an incredible story in the industry, and I don't think people realize, because based on who's in the industry now, a lot of your contemporaries are long gone.
Yeah. What it converted to, I don't want to, take up all your time about that book, but was that I'd spent all this time doing it, and someone turned me on to Game Changer Publishing. And what I liked about them was that I thought I needed to tell the story better. And the way they do it is they record your book, so you speak it. So it took me like a week of 2 hours a day to be recorded. And then it's been a amount of editing. But what they do is what they did with this book, and it's not a bad idea, was that I was looking for a side hustle. The only reason I was interested in this book was a side hustle to maybe get us to become a speaker. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could get a gig,
100%.
So the book was wrote more as a motivational piece, get too close to the sun, you're going to get burned, It is certainly the story from the time I was born until probably right about the time when I got out,
Wow.
But it's not in gory detail. It's not salacious. I'm not saying, I mention people that are famous, but only because I was around them, not because I was in any intimate settings with any of them.
They're part of the story, right? They're part of the life. They're part of understanding it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So let's back up a step.
Well, you might like it.
Oh, trust me, I'm going to love it.
I'm definitely getting a copy of this book.
I honestly don't read nonfiction. I read business books and I read biographies, because I believe that there's so much message with people's life's experiences. I frankly think that there's all the messages you need to live your life in the world. And I don't know that to me, I don't believe that there's mistakes. You and I have had that conversation privately about things that change you. And frankly, that's going to be our next podcast together, because I want to read the book first. But there's a few things that you and I could divulge.
Yeah,
personally.
I think that I don't really know how to tell that personal story. I mean, it comes to me more and more, and I think I'm living it. I'm in a better place.
No question. You're a phoenix.
Wait
a minute. You're in Vegas, but you're a phoenix. You've literally risen. There's not too many people who have a successful second act the way you have. No question about it. And it's because people believe. The most important people from that period believe in you.
So that was Charlie Horky from earlier this year. And so next, I worked at a branding agency for about 7 years. And one of the biggest signals of that you have a strong brand is what your colleagues say about you when you're not in the room. And so this next clip was essentially a 4-minute commercial for PAX training,
which I was not even involved in, by the way.
James wasn't even involved in, with Tim and Mike Rose on A Thorn Between Two Roses was the name of the title.
That happened to be probably in the top 3 episodes. And because I love those guys, and we're very, very blessed to have them as clients and colleagues. And so that was a great episode. Sorry.
Well, and talk about guys that give back, right? I will tell you, I mean, so one, I am very lucky to have them as clients and advocates, but Mike and Tim are both get it done guys, right?
It's in the DNA.
They're very active in the associations. They're very active. I mean, and the other thing is, they're the types of guys that if you say, hey, I need help, they're not going to give you some piddly horrible advice. They're going to tell you what you need to do and how you need to get there and what their experience is. And I have nothing but respect for both those guys. Plus, they're serious, but they're fun to be around. They
absolutely
get it done, but they don't just, work isn't the only thing in their life. You've got Mike. Mike's part of the fire department, right? He's a fire chief. I mean, he's giving back to the community. Same thing, with Tim. Tim's actively involved. Tim, when they had the human trafficking issue and they were able to save somebody, I don't know if that ever came up on the podcast, right? But, we worked with Tim, and when we started doing human trafficking courses, they adopted it. They trained all their drivers. And what happens? One of the Dolphin drivers is off work at a diner, and literally he sees this gal with this guy, and all the boxes get checked. He calls it in. They come in. This guy had come hiding offshore, came in to traffic this woman. He called it in, did everything he was supposed to do. They saved this woman's life, and they've got a human trafficker that now is hopefully going to get behind bars. So you want to talk about two guys to get it done. I mean,
100%.
They're incredible. They're
100%.
Absolutely incredible.
So the clip is from A Thorn Between Two Roses.
Who was the thorn? I didn't make it to that one. Was that you, John?
It wasn't me.
It's 100% me.
Now, if I remember, I can't even named that one.
Well, it was brilliant. I mean,
and it fits. It fits.
Oh, that's such a classic name.
So the tools are there. We have to adopt. The whole goal is you're trying to avoid the big one. As you mentioned, you were distracted and looking at that in your vehicle, right? What we do is train, okay? And James, I'm sorry you're not here today. We miss you too, because you do great work, okay? Great work, James. Did I mention that?
James Blain from PAX Training does fantastic work.
He does fantastic work. My Director of Safety and Compliance, Mike Davis, swears by him, and so many of our fellow affiliates do, and our fellow Hoffman companies as well. And the whole goal is about avoiding the big one. And as Mike mentioned, the new technology is now so much better. Every time that they come out with something, I then turn around and I torture Mike Davis, who works for us, and I say, "Hey, Mike, look at this new feature that it says, please slow down when you get to a certain mile per hour." Or it says, please wear your seatbelts when you get in the car. It's muscle memory, as Mike said, and there are ways to avoid that. And it's really all we can do to try to, ingrain upon them that the safety is very, very important. And insurance is what keeps us in business.
Well, and I'll just give a shout out. I talk a lot to Tim Delaney. I talk a lot to the guys from Research Underwriters, Steve Freebird and Andrew Don, and they lament the fact that a lot of operators still think, well, you're going up on me and your price. These guys have no choice. There's no one clamoring to get into the commercial fleet insurance business. Last 3 years in a row, for every $100 they've taken in, the industry's collectively lost $104. It's not a sustainable business model. From a standpoint of, you bring up PAX training, which I think is another way to create a culture of safety. And James and I lament a lot about what we do. And someone will look at our product, our course, or our services, our financial review and profit improvement service, and they're like, "That's pretty expensive." And I'm like, basically, we guarantee to improve your profits. In James' case, to me, that program it should have been, I wish it was around 20 years ago when I was an operator, but that program is a game changer for your operation. It tells your chauffeur department or your chauffeurs, individual chauffeurs, that you're serious about customer service, superior customer service, and maximum safety. I don't know why operators, again, they consider it an expense. Okay. When James can demonstrate, not that this is a commercial for him, but he can demonstrate the change in behavior when you implement all of the strategies that he has.
No question.
Is it the operators that perhaps are just, they're in their own echo chamber? They've been doing this for so long. I haven't needed it up till now. What is it?
So I if you go back 20 years to Tommy Mazza's training videos,
God bless him.
and you look at where it's come, and now it's, the PAX training program, which, Bruce and James have built. So it went from, how to be a chauffeur to how to be a safe chauffeur. And that's what it's about. It's about it's an all encompassing platform that, provides that safety culture for your new employees. And I could tell you from a My Limo perspective, after we implemented, PAX, we saw immediate improvement in service delivery, safety, quantifiable increases in survey scores across the board. So it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So you have to live it. It's, again, safety culture is something that, is across the board in your company, and you have to live it. But for folks that don't adopt these platforms, whether it's James's or someone else's, you have to talk to other operators, see what they're doing, and talk to people that have adopted, and say, where have you seen the return on investment?
All right. So our next clip that we have was actually from a recent episode that we did where, James, you had been on the road for, I think it was like 4 or 5 weeks straight. And it was
I've been on the road like every month this year. It's insane.
Yeah. It was right after the fall show for the CDNLA show.
Oh, is this the big epiphany?
In Dallas. And this was your big epiphany. Yeah. So here comes James's aha moment.
We were there for NLA. We went and we saw all the representatives. Literally the very next day, after being there with representatives, I was now going with TTA to see representatives. And for NLA, we were asking for an insurance task force. And we got, ironically enough, right, Sharice Davis. I believe she's House of Representatives, Democratic Party, state of Kansas. Don't quote me on that. I'm just going off the top of my head. But her head of office had been there for a long time. And he told me, he said, "I'm going to give it to you straight. You're asking me for a task force. Okay, what does that look like? How does it work? What does it do? You want an insurance task force. This is not even my problem. This is a state issue." The thought to me was, all right, so we've got a state issue. So we have a very easy way for them to kick it down. It wasn't collaborated. And in a short span of time, I wasn't able to go with UMA, but UMA was there too. So we had TTA, NLA, UMA. So you have the motor coach operations, you have NEMT, taxi, and paratransit, and some smaller school bus, and the limo associations, all converging, all asking for the same thing in a roundabout way. What happens when we say, hey, we've all come together as an industry. This is the shared problem. This is what we want a task force to look like. Here's a blueprint for it. We'd like you to endorse it. The whole game changes. Now, let me be abundantly clear. Cornerstone did an incredible job in putting stuff together for us. TTA's side did an incredible job putting stuff together for them. But it's grown to a point where we as an industry have this opportunity to come together and say, these are the main issues. We're not going to agree on all of them. We're not going to want the same thing on all of them. But if we become that squeaky wheel that gets the grease and we're able to pool resources and time and money to do that, guys, there's a reason that the Amish can build a whole barn so quickly.
Do we need them on the task force?
So look, here's the thing. For me, that aha moment was huge. And I'm at a point where I've been traveling every single month, right? We expect travel to increase, not decrease next year. But I think for me, what that came from is all of these different verticals, all these different associations, everybody's facing the same problem. And if everybody tries to reinvent the wheel
on their own,
right? We talked about, what's your favorite saying about the islands, Ken?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're an island, those are the most backwards companies we deal with. That's one of Ken's favorite things to say. And I love that because here's the thing. If as the passenger ground transportation industry, we don't come together, right? And we talk about the industry. We talk about the black car industry. We talk about the bus industry. Talk about NEMT. You talk about school bus. We talk about, but really those are just verticals. Those are just segments. It's the ground transportation industry, right? The passenger ground transportation industry. And I 100% believe that the better we can get about working together, the better we're going to be. And I stand 120% behind that statement. I'm at all the different shows. It's not uncommon. If I was on the Bus Industry Safety Council call, not too long ago, and they were like, hey, about the chauffeur side, and I'm happy to chime in. If I'm on I remember I was in California, I was doing an association out there. Hey, what about the bus side? I'm happy to try and bring those pieces in and try to be that bridge, because the bigger we are in terms of working together as the industry, the more we're going to get done and the more we're going to solve.
And it came crystal clear to me when at the Day on the Hill for the chauffeur side, I was in town for that. And 3 days later, you were in town for the motorcoach guys.
Yeah. No, I was there for TTA. I missed motorcoach this year.
So you were there for TTA.
TTA was the day after.
So the day after. And then the motorcoach guys came into town.
I can't remember if they were, I can't remember if they were the beginning of that month or the end of that month. But like within a month, you're all three of them.
And Matt, that is probably your epiphany moment is definitely something we need to do something about, because there's no question that if we can advance it and make it come to fruition, it could be a game changer. This morning, I was on the phone with an operator who's beside himself. He's a $1.8 million operator whose insurance just went up to $20,000 a month on 12 vehicles. Now, he didn't have a fatality, but he had a couple of issues, obviously. Yeah. $240,000 on $1.8 million is just not sustainable. And I said that to him. And, he's got a few other debt issues that we have to try to help him with. But I said, at the end of the day, this has fundamentally changed your business, because that should be more like 120,000 or even 90,000. Yep. And it's definitely, you can't sustain it. So this is a guy who's been in the business 25 years. So your epiphany moment is something that I think we need to build on. And I blame you if it doesn't happen.
Look, I think we're going to get there. I have made it a very big point this year. We announced our partnership with Lancer. I've got some exciting announcements coming with some other insurance companies that we're partnering with. I think the biggest thing, and this is really important, is that we have got to double down as an industry. And when I say double down, I mean double down on doing it right. Double down on making sure that we're working with the regulators. We're working with people to get rid of the gypsy operators. We're working to get these things done, because there's so many pieces that affect us all. And a lot of times it becomes very easy to just operationally put your blinders on. I'm just going to focus on me. I'm going to focus on what I'm doing. And I think for me, the travel opened that up. And I think it might not happen tomorrow. It might not happen in January. We might not get it done in 2026. But this is something that, even if the insurance crisis was solved tomorrow, this is how we get ready for, and we're ahead of the next issue. Just because we solved the insurance crisis, just because we figured this out, doesn't mean we don't all do that. If we're all working together as the passenger ground transportation industry, and we're all coordinating on issues, they're going to get solved 10 times faster, and we're going to have 10 times better answers.
100% great advice. And I think that's a great place to end for the day. It's been an exciting day. I'm sorry I don't have my holiday hat on, but I'm with you in spirit.
We will CGI it on. You've been wearing it the whole time. You didn't even know it.
Yep. And that concludes our Best of 2025 episode for the Ground Transportation Podcast. If you've made it this far into the episode, please follow the show on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a rating, leave us a review. That really helps us to grow the show. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next Wednesday on the Ground Transportation Podcast.
Happy New Year.